Hi, this is Brother Teacher once again. I have a question that I would like to pose to you today. Not like I haven't asked you questions in time past, but this is just another subject matter. Now, mind you, many of the questions that I pose to my audience are questions based on an experience that I have had in my own life, past and even present. And I am talking to other common people just as myself. I would just simply like to know how you deal with certain situations in your own life and how you have dealt with situations in your life in the time past that can potentially benefit those other individuals that are going through some similar situations. In some instances, maybe the same situation that you have experienced, or even myself. So, I also want to try and provide remedy for those individuals that are having a hard go of dealing with certain issues in their life, be it a health issue, be it a social or family issue, be it a legal issue, whatever it is. I want to try to be the voice or one of many, many voices to add sort of some sense to what's really going on in the world that we all are experiencing from day to day. With that said, this is the question that I have for you that are watching now, and I want you to put your thinking hats on if you haven't experienced this. Now, if you have experienced this, it's not going to take that much effort for you to respond, I'm certain. So, here we go. If you, whoever you are watching, have a family, and you live in a house, and one day you came home from work. Now, this could be the husband, the wife, the spouse, the girlfriend, boyfriend, it doesn't matter. But if one day you came home from work, you walk into your home and you see luggage that doesn't belong to you or your spouse. It belongs to a family member. That's not your family, but it's your spouse's family member. And then you, upon further investigation and observation, you start to see other things that have been brought to your home that were not there before, such as televisions and other bags of clothing and extra food and things of this nature. So, fast forward. Let's say later on in the day, you have a visitor come over, and you find out that it's your companion's family member, cousin, uncle, father, mother, and basically all of the things or the items that you saw in the house early on were their belongings. So what am I getting to? The person has moved into your home without your knowledge. And it's a possibility that that person didn't know that you didn't know that they were moving in. So, you see your companion, your spouse, and they walk up to you and you're alone, let's say, and they said, oh, by the way, my cousin, my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, my uncle, whoever the relative is that you saw in the house, they said they'll be staying here for a while because they moved out of their own apartment. And you look at them sort of distraught and puzzled. Well, why didn't you say anything to me about your intentions, and why wasn't I involved in this ordeal, or why wasn't I involved in this decision making? Why did you, in other words, take it upon yourself to move your family member into my home without me knowing until the day that they moved in? Why is it that I come home and I see personal belongings of other people in my home? Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know where it came from. And then all of a sudden I see your family member in my home and you tell me on the day of them moving in that they're moving in, how would you feel? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be perfectly honest so that you know that I'm not saying that this is a hypothetical situation. I have experienced this. So I'm asking you, how would you feel if you came home and one of your family members or in-laws or uncles or cousins or whomever was now staying in your home with you for maybe 2 to 3 months until they get themselves back on their feet and find them another place to live? How would you feel if you were not ever part of the decision-making process? Would you be okay with it? Would you be incensed? Would you be really angry? And upon that situation happening, would you confront or say something to the person that moved in and say to them maybe that I didn't know that you were going to be moving in? I have nothing against you, but my spouse should have said something to me when they first had this unction to move you in. So, is that disrespectful, ladies and gentlemen? Is it cruel? Is it rude? Is it discourteous? What adjective would you use if this were you? Now let's back up again. I'm not trying to be redundant, but let's back up again. Whoever you are watching me right now, you live at home. You come home one day, someone else's personal belongings are in your home. You find out through your spouse, male or female, that they've moved a family member into your home until they find a place for them to live, and they may be occupying your space for 2 to 3 months. But you were not notified until the day that they moved that family member into your home. And when you look at your spouse, they have no regret. They don't feel any remorse, any guilt whatsoever for doing what they did. When you say something to them, how do you deal with that situation? Or do you deal with it at all and just say, oh well, it is what it is, and you just keep it moving? I would like to know. But let me tell you, when something like this happens to me, that says a whole lot about the other person in the relationship. Can you say disrespect? Respect is a very, very powerful word that is really taken lightly. And I think people have used the term respect so much, they really don't know the full ramifications of that word, respect. Respect means, just in simple terms, that I consider you. And I expect you to consider me as well on every level. I expect you to come to me as an adult and have an adult conversation and dialogue with me about any situation, externally or internally, as it relates to our relationship. And it should not be any governor put on what you have to say. In other words, it shouldn't be any restrictions. Whatever you have to say to me, I will sit and listen. And I would expect that you would allow me to speak as well when it's my turn. And then we find some common ground or some resolution to our issue. But I should owe it to myself, and I owe it to you, to be able to express what I feel. And you should be able to express what you feel as well, without attacking one another, just speaking the facts and trying to come to some resolution of the problem or issue. That to me is respect. And it shows that you are intelligent enough, caring enough, that you have enough sympathy and empathy for your partner, whoever they are, to let them know this is what's going on, or this is what I would like to do. How do you feel about this situation? That's respect as it relates to what I just pointed out as far as this particular scenario. But conversely, disrespect in this particular instance is when you do the opposite of all of those things I just mentioned. When you don't say anything to your partner whatsoever, when you feel like you have the position and or power or authority to make a decision that affects the whole family without the family participating at all. And when I say family, I'm talking more directly the adults first, and everything trickles down to the children involved, if any. So, have you been through a situation like this before in your life? And if you're going through a situation like this in your life, how do you feel? And how did you feel if you've already went through this? Did you make it out okay? And for those who are still in a situation like that, are you making it okay? Let me know. This is Brother Teacher. I'm curious.